former bishop from Sugar Land says he's been excommunicated from the Mormon church. The decision came down today after his fight to stop private meetings between bishops and children in the church. Stephanie Whitfield is in Sugar Land to explain.
This started last year when a Sugar Land dad says he found out his daughter had conversations with her bishop that he considers sexually explicit. He's made his fight to stop this practice in the Mormon church public, and today church leaders told him he's no longer a member.
We have carefully and prayerfully reviewed this.
Through tears, this former bishop from Sugar Land read a letter sent to him by his church.
The decision of the council that you be excommunicated for conduct contrary to the laws and order of the church.
Excommunication, the result of Sam Young's public plea to stop what he calls sexually explicit interviews of Mormon youth.
Come out of that building right there and come out and demonstrate that you have a strong desire to protect our children.
Young was emotional during a news conference in Salt Lake City. Church leaders, on the other hand, are not talking about the decision. A spokesperson only stating, church discipline is administered by local leaders who are familiar with the individual and his or her circumstances. But the father of 6 says the reason behind the decision is clear.
About that. It was taken only because of my outright public position.
A position he'll continue to fight for, whether he's a member of the Mormon church or not.
One of the things that I asked him in our long conversation was, well, I have to tell you, this was when I was working on the newsletter that we just put out, Sacred Marriage or Secret Affair, and I'd just been working on all of that and going through all the stories of Joseph Smith's wives and was fairly appalled by the whole thing. And so I'm having dinner with this guy, and I said, how can you avoid the conclusion that Joseph Smith was a sexual predator? And he said, well, you know, that's, he was sincere. But I said, well, no, I don't think that's the way you get it. Because, for instance, in the newsletter, I tell about the case of Lucy Walker. Now, here's a young girl where she's in a family of 10 people, or 10 children. The family converts to Mormonism. They end up moving to Nauvoo. But the mother gets malaria in Nauvoo and dies, and then one of the children dies, so now we're down to 9 kids. And Joseph Smith's solution to this family's situation is to send the father on a 2-year mission to the East Coast, divide up the children into different homes, and take the teenagers into his home. So now he has this 16-year-old girl living in the home with her brother that's a year or so older than her. He starts privately going to the sister to try to convince her to become his plural wife. And she's praying about the whole thing. She doesn't know what to make out of it. Well, then it turns out that Joseph's wife, Emma, and the brother go on a shopping trip to St. Louis. And while they're gone, Joseph gets the girl to marry him. And she's just that day, the day before, turned 17, when she marries him in polygamy behind Emma's back.
The First Presidency and the Quorum of the 12 Apostles are covering a sexual predator that lives in your ward. His name is Joseph Bishop. He was the MTC president in 1984 when he raped me in the basement of the MTC. If you're not aware of this, thank you. Yeah, I'll be done in just a minute.
Have you sit down?
I will, thank you.
I'd love to talk to you after.
Okay.
Can I talk to
you
afterwards?
Absolutely, I'd love to talk to you afterwards.
Can I please?
However, for the atonement to take place, we have to be accountable for what we do. We don't get to. Thank you.
Talk to you, okay?
Yeah, but you know what? You're in my personal space.
Okay.
Excuse me. No. I have more to say. My name is McKenna Jensen.
Okay.
I approve this message.
Share with me.
I will share with you. However,
share with you
it is really important. It is really important that you understand, in order to keep our ward safe, in order to keep our church safe, do not call the police. Don't touch me. You're assaulting me. In order to keep the church safe, we need to hold sexual predators accountable, whether they are pedophiles or whether they are rapists like Joseph Bishop.
This is not a place for you to share this. Okay, come on.
You know this is assault, right? And you know that we're filming this, right?
15 to 17. My wife was regularly called by Bishop Johnson into his office for one-on-one interviews. These interviews made a big, long-lasting impact in her life that continues even today. As a teenager myself, I became an Eagle Scout, and in scouting I was taught the importance of a principle called two-deep leadership. Its purpose is to protect the child and to protect the leader. Two-deep leadership is not currently practiced in bishopric interviews. Because of this, the big, long-lasting impact Bishop Johnson had on my wife in their private one-on-one interviews was caused by invasive, explicit, inappropriate questioning around the law of chastity. This traumatized and shamed her. Never allow your child to be alone during a bishop's interview, no matter how much you trust the bishop. It's not a risk worth taking.
Stop recording.
I'm going to ask you to please dismiss yourself.
Okay.
Have repeatedly acted in clear and open, deliberate public opposition to the church and its leaders. I want to share my testimony of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Okay. President Ivins, can you read the rest of the apostasy definition? Like you read the definition, but there's more to it.
I'd like you to make a statement.
Okay. You're not going to answer that question?
I'm not.
Okay. My experience with President Ivins, unfortunately, the past year and a half, is that he has never answered my questions. Not a single question. I have asked you 3 questions over and over and over and over and over and over and over 20 times. And the specific question that I asked you is, what errors or mistakes in the CES letter or on the website is incorrect, so that I can publicly correct it? The second question I asked you is, if there are no errors or mistakes, why am I being punished for seeking and sharing the truth? And the third question I asked you is, what question am I being punished for? And you have not answered a single one of them. Can I ask you why you are not answering them?
You're going to make a statement.
So you're not going to answer any questions this evening?
I've stated my evidence. You make a statement.
I agree that
You make a statement, Jeremy.
Why are you not answering any questions?
This is not the time for that.
When is the time?
We're not going to get in debate. You're going to make a statement, period.
I'm just going to make a statement. Why won't you answer my questions? I've asked, and they're very reasonable questions that I've asked over and over. Like, I don't know if there are errors and mistakes, I want to correct them. I don't understand why you are spiritually executing me over something I don't know what's wrong. Out of curiosity, by a show of hands, how many of you have read the church's essays? Nobody here? Okay. By a show of hands, how many of you have read the CES letter? Nobody here tonight has read the CES letter? Wow. And by a show of hands, has President Ivins prepared you tonight for this council by reading the CES letter carefully?
Jeremy, you're to make a statement.
Okay. So, no questions are going to be answered tonight. So, this is a kangaroo court. I'm done with this court. President, I am excommunicating the LDS Church. I am excommunicating you. And I am excommunicating this kangaroo court from my life. Here is my resignation letter. Goodbye.